Today's video is sponsored by Crossbreed. Crossbreed is a new and upcoming website where you can trade your skins, and rather than going on the Steam community market and losing money to tax, if you find a skin that you like, you can simply trade it with the skins of your own. Crossbreed also has two vanilla servers. It has a US and an EU, so if you're looking for a new server to play, make sure to go check them out. They also have giveaways, and the link for their website will be in the description. Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be crossbreeding. Yes, that's right, all I'm going to be doing is just crossbreeding to get the perfect plant. Now I've got plenty of guides on how to set up your farms and how to crossbreed in general. If you want to learn how to do it, I highly recommend you go watch those other videos. However, I've had a lot of requests for just a POV of me doing my crossbreeding, just so that you guys can see my exact process and how I get the perfect seed. So for the most part, this video is going to be pretty unedited. I'll try not to cut it too much because I want you guys to see exactly how I would go about it. First thing I wanted to note is that you can actually use 6 lights for my 3x6 design. I put a message in the pinned comment and in the Discord, so if you watch my updated farm video, make sure you're using 6 lights in the same orientation that I'm doing here. As for the sprinklers, I just have a lot of sprinklers because I'm on a private server, so my plant tick rate is increased, therefore they drain more water. So if you're on a vanilla server or you're just not on a private server for that matter, only use the 6 sprinklers per floor. Don't copy this design at all. So first off, I usually gather around 50 seeds. If I'm lucky, that's all I'll need. However, it can sometimes take me closer to 100. I've got 1,000 seeds in my inventory here, so you can see exactly how many seeds it took me. For this run, I'm going to be setting my plant tick rate to 10, meaning that it's going to tick every 10 seconds as opposed to a minute, and I'm going to be setting the scale to 10, which means that they're going to grow 10 times faster than normal. This is just for practicing on a private server. I would recommend copying the same if you're going to practice, but do keep in mind that the plants will be growing 10 times faster than if you're doing this on a vanilla server. So the first thing I'll do is plant a whole bunch of seeds. I usually don't plant them next to each other, just so that I can come back to them and so that they won't crossbreed. So I usually set up all my water first and then plant them in the corners. You don't have to set up all the automation first. You can manually water just for the crossbreeding stage. It's completely up to you. So that right there is 4 in every 6. That's 24 seeds, and let's see what we get. Generally things like this I'll just throw away. But we're currently looking for either an all green or a bunch of clones that we can use to make an all green. This process will be a lot easier if you find a gene which is already an all green and it's close to what you want. It'll just make the next part a lot easier. So I'll be honest, this first set of seeds is pretty bad. I'm not seeing too many all greens. Like for example, this is next to useless. This one right here is pretty decent. This one's got 4 out of the 6 that we need, with 1 red and an H. Not there. This one is no, that one's not that great, honestly. Still looking around. This one's that one's pretty average. Yeah, I'd say they're all pretty bad. The only decent one was that one that we found. I think it was over here. So because this one has 3 Gs and a Y, that means we've got 4 out of the 6 that we need. So we'll take a clone of this, but the rest of them, I'm not going to lie, are pretty bad. But I'll leave them over there because what if we need to use, in case we need to use them in the 50-50 method, I'll leave my clones over there. So we'll keep planting. Okay, so now we're up to 48 seeds. Let's have a look at what we got. This one's not even that bad because it's got 2 W's, so we can find some X's. That one would be okay. Again, a pretty average turnout. It's going to be hard to mix these all together. So we know we have an X in the first slot, so we can't pick up any other ones which also have an X. This one right here isn't actually too bad. I know it's got 2 reds, but because it doesn't have anything in the first area, we could pair it with the back end. So see, immediately we can pair them. They both have a G in the second slot. The 4th and 5th they're not accounted for, but I'm sure we can find some other ones. That's got a W in the 4th. Okay, so straight away these 2 ones can be paired together because see how it's got a W where it has an X? Which means that if we pair these 2 together, they're not going to have any double reds. So I think I'll pick up this one and I'll pick this one up. And then I think I might try and look for that other one. I saw one which had a whole bunch of Y's, but just at the end. So you got to keep a mental note of the ones that have, here we go. So this one has a whole bunch of Y's at the end, which means we can pair this one with pretty much all the other ones. Okay, so this one and this one. I just want to pause here and state that you can check for double ups by rapidly clicking on both the genes. The genes that are the same, meaning that they won't change when you're switching between the two, they're the double ups. The reason I picked up these two is because these two don't have any double ups except for the G in the second slot. And then if we add this one to the mix, we can see now we have a double up in the first slot, these two. Double up in the first, the third, and the sixth. Okay, cool. So that means we've got a double up in the first slot between these two, a double up in the second slot between these two, and then we have a double up in the third slot between these two, an H in the sixth slot, not ideal. Now all we need to do is get a double up in the fourth and the fifth slot. So we can see we've got 2 Gs. So if we can find a plant which has 2 Gs in the fourth and fifth slot, that would be ideal. We can also pick up this one with a whole bunch of Ys, because that's not interfering with any of these ones. So now all I'm looking for is a GG in the fourth and fifth, or a YY in the fourth and fifth. Any of those will do. So we'll just have a look around, see if we can find any with a Y. This one has a Y in the fifth, but it's got too many red genes. So anyone that has, here this one's got a GG in the fourth and fifth, but it does have a W in the, oh perfect, okay. So we don't need this one actually, that was just to see if we got any Ys, but if we throw that one away, because see how these two both have a W in the first slot, we have to throw one away. We want the double G in the fourth and fifth, therefore if we look at all of these ones, we can now see, if we look at the reds, there's no double reds across any of them. You can write this out in Paint to make it easier. I'll write it because I've been practicing for a while. I can generally just see where, like, if I look at it, but if you guys are new to crossbreeding, I would highly recommend writing your stuff out in Excel or on Paint. Okay, so first we can see we have a double up in the G in the first slot, and then in the second slot we've got 2 Gs here. In the third slot we've got 2 Ys here, 3 Ys actually, and then in the fourth slot you can see here, fourth and fifth we have 2 Gs, final slot we have 2 Hs. So we're going to be 1 off of our perfect clone. So now what we can do is plant a random seed. You can even plant a clone if you want, and you just plant it over here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take all of our plants over here, and we're going to surround it by this middle one. So this is the strategy to getting an all green plant. If you don't, you can get an all green plant. Statistically, you should get one every roughly 21 seeds. So I actually got kind of unlucky with my genetics here, but this just goes to show that even if you get unlucky, you can still easily make an all green plant just by counting your genes. So once this one is about, I'd say about 10 minutes into its cycle, that's when I usually plant my outer ones, depending on how many Gs this one has. If it's got a lot of Gs, you can plant the outer ones pretty early. If not, otherwise. The reason that we wait so long to plant our outer ones is because we want this middle one to reach crossbreeding stage first. So generally speaking, I'll wait anywhere for 10 to 15 minutes. For those experienced planters out there, you'll know that the middle one will get to crossbreeding stage based on how many Gs it has. So this one only has 1, so around 10 minutes is fine. If you wait 15 minutes, you'll always be fine, but if you want to be a bit quick with your time, you can probably just wait around 10 minutes. Around to sapling stage, and that's when you want to plant your outer ones. So a little over 10 minutes. So we'll just plant, notice how I'm planting 1 of each of the different types around it, because we've done our gene counting. And now that, it doesn't matter where these ones go or what order. Now we just got to wait, and this one, as soon as it hits crossbreeding stage, it will extract from all of these genes. It won't consider its own genetics, it'll only extract from the 4 that we've chosen. And because we did our counting earlier, we can see that these 4 will line up to give us exactly what we want, because we did our counting earlier. And as we predicted, you can see that it's extracted from all of the genes, and because we had double ups in each slot, 1 through to 6, you can see that it's extracted and it's taken all of the genetics. So now what we can do is pick this one up here. We've taken a clone of our perfect one, and now the rest of these ones are pretty much useless except for this one, because now we need a Y in the 6th slot here. So we need a Y in the 6th slot here. So if I clone this one here, I think it was this one together. we need to turn this one into a Y on the 6th slot. So all we need to do is just go find another gene which has a Y in the 6th slot. Notice how I didn't harvest any of my previous clones. The reason is because now I can go back and find a Y in the 6th slot by running around and looking at my genes. Here this one has a Y in the 6th slot. I'll just put all these ones away, they're pretty useless. So we need to see if it matches up with this one to see if there's any double ups other than the Y. Notice straight away that there's an X, so we can't use this one. See these two, how they have a double up in the Y, but it has a double up in the X, so we can't use these two. We need to go find another one which has a double. We need to go find another one with a Y in the last slot, but it doesn't have an X in the first slot. Okay, here, this one has a Y in the last slot. Let's see how it pairs up. Okay, straight away you can see that these two have a W, so we can't use these two. But if we throw away this one, we can in fact use this one. Notice how they only have a... Notice how they only have a Y in the last slot. They also have a G in the 5th slot, but that's fine because we already have a G in the 5th slot. So these two will create a 50% chance to swap that last Y over. And the setup is exactly the same. We can just harvest these, we don't need these ones anymore. You can just plant a random seed in here, and if you want, you don't actually have to plant a random seed. You can in fact just plant a random clone. For example, this is just a random clone that we had lying around. If you want to save some seeds, just plant this random clone in here, and then we're going to wait exactly the same. Wait for it about 10 to 15 minutes, wait for it to almost get to crossbreeding stage. Then we're going to plant 2 of our near perfect one of this one, and 1 of this one. Because we can see here they've got a double up only in the 5th and 6th slot, so if we plant 1 of each of these, we will be fine. If you're nervous about crossbreeding and you find yourself making mistakes with counting, a good idea would probably be just to plant one of your near perfect seeds. If you do get to something like this, just plant one of them in the corner and just keep cloning it so that you have a bunch of backups in case you make mistakes. But because I've been doing this for a while, I know I'm not going to make a mistake, so I can just wait for 10 to 15 minutes and wait for this one to be planted. And to speed up the process, because you're not always going to get it on your first try, you can in fact just plant a random, another random seed, so it doesn't matter, like over there. And notice how we've got 2, like that, which means that we can plant all of our outer ones around here, and then we can do the exact same thing for the one over there. So we're just going to wait until this one is about sapling stage. Okay, so it's at sapling stage, so it's pretty safe to plant our other ones. So we're just going to plant 1 of each of these. Doesn't matter what order you plant it in. Just 1 of each of them, like so. And then when that one crossbreeds, it'll extract from all of these, and we will have a 50% chance to swap that last gene over to a Y. Perfect, we got lucky and it did in fact swap that last one over. But I just wanted to point out that had we gotten unlucky, see these ones over here? Say we got unlucky with it, we didn't, so let's just grab that, that's perfect. But say we got unlucky, what we can do is we can harvest these outer ones and replant them, like so. That was a mistake, sorry. We harvest these outer ones, like so. And we could just come over to here, because this one hasn't hit crossbreeding stage, and plant them over here. So the ones on the outside, I didn't mean to plant these ones here, sorry. You can harvest these ones, or take the clones of these ones, and just go put them on the one right next door to it. Notice how, and then look, see how that one swapped over as well? We got lucky both times, but we might not have gotten lucky. So if you want to speed up the process, it's a good recommendation to just plant a whole bunch of center ones, and then keep cloning these ones right here every single time they reach mature stage. Even if this one hasn't hit crossbreeding stage, as soon as these ones enter sapling stage, you can just keep cloning these outer ones and then just planting them in the next one over. And you can just keep repeating this process until you have a whole bunch of them. So now that we've got this is pretty much a perfect clone. Debatably, you could want another Y, or maybe even 2 more Ys, and if we wanted to do that, that's really easy. All we would have to do is just run over to all of these ones that we've still got here and just clone it. And this goes to show that even though I got unlucky and I didn't get any 6 greens, which happens, I could still manage to get my perfect clone in just about 48 seeds. I actually used 49 because I accidentally used the middle one, but you could have saved seeds and put it down. So yeah, 50 seeds is generally safe enough because I got pretty unlucky. If you're really unlucky, it can take up to 100, but I'd say I got pretty unlucky with my genetics, and I still managed to get what I needed. But like I said, if you wanted to swap this last one over, it's not that hard. You just run over and find a double Y in some of these ones. So for example, if we threw away all these clones that didn't have, that one, so we need a Y in the first two or the fourth and fifth. So if we just threw away, this one's got one in the second, that's fine. This one doesn't have any where we want it. This one's got it in the fourth and fifth. This one's got it in the sixth, but they both have a W. Oh no, 6 doesn't matter. Throw away this one because we already have a G in the 6. We already have a G in the things, and then we would just go looking around for another Y. It's not in the third or the sixth slot. So this one's got it in the fifth slot, so we could clone that one. Check to see these two. Do they have any double ups? Yes, they have a double up in the third and the fifth. Easy. Still from our 48 seeds. We've now got all of these clones to try out, and if we wanted to, we could just take a clone of this random one, place one here, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to plant one of each of these outer ones. And in fact, because we have so many, we can just do it again. So like so. These ones can pretty much all be cleared, they're not useful. And then so we're going to wait for 10 minutes for these to all get to close to crossbreeding stage, and then we're just going to plant our outer ones. Something that you can do in the process, I'll show you what I mean. So if you plant this one, this is for more advanced breeders, you can plant these outer ones like so. Notice how I haven't waited for this middle one to reach crossbreeding stage. So don't do this normally. But if you kind of know what you're doing, I'll show you how this can save you a bit of time. So notice how I haven't waited for this middle one to get close to crossbreeding stage. The reason is because I'm going to sit here and I'm going to come back. Let's say I go away and I come back in 10 minutes. I'm going to sit here, and as soon as these ones reach sapling stage, I'm just going to clone them and replant them, because I don't want any of these outer ones to ever reach crossbreeding stage. So I'm just going to sit here and wait, because I don't want them to reach crossbreeding stage. You want the middle one to reach crossbreeding stage and none of the outer ones. And so this can save you a lot of time, because notice how I've managed to set up 3 50-50s, like so. If I just keep cloning these middle ones, I can pretty much set up an infinite amount of 50-50s. In fact, I don't need any of these other slots to be taken up. So I can harvest all of this cloth and use up all of this space over here. So see how it's reached sapling stage? I'm going to clone it and replant it. Clone it and replant it. I don't want any of those to actually grow. So clone it, replant it, clone it, replant it, and boom, that one worked on the 50-50. This one again, clone it, replant it, replant it. Same stuff over and over. And you can see here, we got lucky on the 50-50, we got lucky on the 50-50, lucky on the 50-50, and I didn't have enough in there. I honestly didn't want to get lucky on my first try recording, just to show you, but you can see how I've set it up 3 times, and look at all these extra ones I've got. Now I can just clone all of these ones, and I've got so many extra tries. So even if I failed 3 times in a row, in just under 20 minutes, which one is it? These two go together. In just under 20 minutes, I've managed to clone all of these ones, and look at all these clones I have. I can do the test again. In just 25 minutes, I can do the test again, like close to 9 times. Because if I clone all these ones, and just put all of them with that, I can do the test again 9 times in the next 20 minutes. So if you're one that's complaining about your 50-50s always failing, notice how I just set it up 3 times in just around 20 minutes. Obviously I'm sped up time, so it didn't take 20 minutes. And then after the 20 minutes, I've managed to clone each one twice, which means that now I can do the test 9 times. Like again, if I wanted to. Just clone all these ones, stack them on here, and see how I've got 30 of the near perfect one, and I've got 9 of the other one, and 13 of the other one. I can just keep redoing the test if I wanted to. So in about an hour, you should be able to do the test, close to 12 to 15 times. And in 2 hours, if you have a full planter box, you should be able to do the test in an hour. I'd say about 30 times. And if you're still getting it wrong after 30 times, yeah, that's pretty unlucky. You should probably get your siblings to buy a lotto ticket, because they've clearly got all the lucky genetics. But yeah, that's pretty much how I would do it. And now you can see here, these three here. That's our perfect clone, 3G, 3Y. That's the one I always go for. If you're a little bit more lazy, or not lazy, but you want to do other things in Rust, it's perfectly fine to go for 4Y. That's pretty much just as good. Just one thing in case you didn't know, if you hold down right click, so right now I'm holding down right click, you can just take the clone. So you'll notice, here's my inventory. If I hold down right click, I can just run around and click E on them. This makes this process a whole lot easier. And cloning is actually not that bad anymore. I don't know if people know about this. It came out in one of the latest patches, so make sure you're holding right click to take your clones when you're mass producing. Okay, so that's the end of the video. Thank you to all who stuck around. I know this video was extremely long and it wasn't edited very much. I don't know how I feel about that, but a lot of people requested the unedited version, because the problem is when I'm doing my guides and I'm cutting them and trying to make them look nice and a bit shorter, I often miss out on different parts. So if you already know what you're doing, you obviously didn't have to watch this video, but this video was extremely long just for the people who are still stuck, because to this day I'm still getting requests for more information, even though people have seen my crossbreeding guides multiple times. So that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe to see more, come join the Discord if you're still having issues, and as always, I will see you in the next one.